great seeing my next guest back in action. He's going to be fighting at UFC and ABC2 coming up here on April 10th. It's the Bull, John Makdessi, back here on the program. John, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, but not as good as you, though, man, because you're in some nice weather right now. You're in Arizona. What brought you out to Arizona to go and train out there?
Yeah, since last year, I just I came here. I wanted to try it out, and Arizona is a beautiful place. I'm very lucky. I fell in love with Arizona, and I've been here since last year. Ben Henderson, the MMA Lab, and also I got connected with Javier Torres. He's a guy very experienced, has his own gym. So I'm just surrounded by a bunch of good people. So I'm actually, I'm happy being in the heat and the sun. I feel like I grew up in the cold, I grew up in the winter, and I was just tired of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like in the Montreal winter right now either. So you made the right choice. What was the connection? Like, who did you know to go train out there and all that stuff? Like, why Arizona specifically?
Just I don't know. I was always like, I was very lucky. I come from Montreal based. I trained. I used to be training. In big camps like George St. Pierre. I used to be on the undercards of George St. Pierre. I had the privilege to witness him, see his training camps. I had the privilege to see Anthony Pettis. I was in Wisconsin. I trained over there for a little bit, and I was always I was a big fan of Ben Henderson. And I wanted to come down here, and he was very welcoming. And Ben actually went through he went through an ACL surgery, something that I did. So it was pretty cool, and it's something that I was very happy to be a part of.
Good. Glad to see it's been a nice fit for you. You haven't fought in a bit. I think last March was the last time we saw you in action. I know we had the pandemic last year, but was it tough getting a fight, or was this layoff by design?
Well, I had to reconstruct my ACL. So basically going into my last fight, I had my knees were giving up. They were giving in, and I after the fight, I had a lot of pain, and I did an MRI scan, and my surgeon back home suggested for me to do a reconstructive ACL surgery. So I was going through a surgery, so that's why I was rehabilitating.
Gotcha. Okay, so when did you actually get back to training? Because I know when you do surgery, you got to be very careful when you get back to doing full training and all that. So how long was it before you were able to go back in the gym again?
Yeah, so the rehabilitation started right away. I was focusing on getting my body ready, and been training, and I'm very, I've been doing this martial arts since 6 years old. For me, I think everything is a challenge. My life has been a roller coaster ride. So nothing that I can't handle.
Okay, so would you say late last year you were kind of back in the gym, or when did you actually get back in there, and when were things starting to feel better in terms of the knee?
Like mid February.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit
after the New Year's.
Makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. I know when you're not fighting, obviously financially it can be a bit tough. How difficult was that, just not being able to pick up a paycheck from fighting?
Yeah, that's always probably something that I learned throughout the road. Like fighting, people think like they have this consumption that UFC fighters make a lot of money. The average 90, like the mid-class UFC fighters like myself who worked himself up the ladder in a corporate organization. Like I've been in the UFC since 10 years, so my first paycheck was $6,000. Everything takes time. There's no only the real people from the inside understand the mixed martial art business is not easy. But it's always been my passion. But the money part, yeah, for sure, it's always been an adversity. I'm very lucky. I started my own bullwear, bull nutrition.
I saw that. Congrats. The designs look pretty good.
Yeah, bullwear. You're gonna see I'm wearing one right now. It's I always envisioned something. I just never really had the time, or I did not have the right resources. And now I'm very lucky. I connected with clock-minded people, and I feel like I'm surrounded by good people who actually listen to me, since I'm the guy behind. I'm the artist. I'm the fighter. And also, back in the old, in my past, I was surrounded by guys never really cared about what I think of myself. They always kind of try to change me. But now I'm surrounded by people who actually listen to my own thoughts, listen to my own ideas, and that we connected. So I'm very happy with that.
And kind of on that note, I can't remember, but do you have a manager right now, or do you negotiate directly with the UFC?
I have the same guy I've been working with since amateur, Mitch Mayberger.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. Okay, nice.
Yeah, Mitch has been he's always a good friend of mine, and I mean at the end of the day, we both can know. At the end of the day, for me, I never look at I try to be very loyal to the people I started with. You know what I mean? So me and Mitch is still kind of has relationship with the UFC over 10 years, and I kind of I trust his experience, and we have a relationship. So
good stuff, man. Let's talk about your opponent here. 11-3 record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I mean, yeah, UFC is like that, right? I fought Francisco Ronaldo. Now I'm fighting a newcomer. So I mean, it's not the first time I fought guys. I really don't think much about. I have no fear of an opponent. You know what I mean? I know that he's a newcomer. He's hungry. So we'll see fight night. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that it's going to be fireworks, and I'm hoping that this time the bull's going to come out versus the last camp. Francisco Ronaldo, I played it very defense. No excuses. My hat's off him. He did what he had to do, but I had to admit, going into a pandemic, injuries, it's not easy to always go in there and put the switch on. So that's why a lot of people they don't understand. That's the hardest part of fighting. On that fight night to have the switch on. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. You got it. Yeah, it's one thing to perform in the gym, but it's you got one night to perform in the cage, right? So it's a lot on the line when you're stepping in there. How do you feel in there? Because you mentioned getting your knee fixed. I'm sure this was something that was bothering you for a while. How's training gone? Just having the new knee.
Yeah, well, I'm more psychologically more confident because of the surgeon telling me that your leg is good, and don't like, because in the past I would feel something, you know what I mean, and I would kind of hold back, and this time around I'm not holding back.
Good stuff. I talked to one of the guys, I don't know if you train with him or not, but I just talked to Scott Holtzman the other day. I know he's been training at the lab. Who else are you getting to work with over there?
Oh, there's a bunch of guys. There's newcomers, up and comers, young guys. I've been training with a lot of Mexican boxers. I'm doing a lot of obviously, I'm a striker, but I'm always working my ground. I'm always training all across the board, and I never neglect nothing. I don't neglect no departments, you know what I mean? But, mixing with the MMA Lab and mixing with other gyms for boxing and striking and wrestling and grappling. So there's a bunch of guys. The list goes on.
Awesome. And the weight cut, how's that going? I know when you're off for a bit, it's tougher to cut some weight, but how's everything going on that front?
I mean, 90% of the time, even when I'm off camp, I'm always disciplined with my nutrition. It's just developing habits, right? You know what I mean? It becomes a lifestyle. I just try to stay. I'm always between 11, 12 pounds of water weight.
Good stuff. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Ben Henderson and Javier Torres.
Cool. Yeah, Ben's one of the best. I mean, I've just from any of the fighters I've talked to, whether it's anyone that's been at the lab, they just talk about his wealth of knowledge. So that'll be a nice caveat to have on fight night. How do you see the fight playing out on April 10th? You said you're expecting the old bull to come out and do it up. How do you envision the fight playing out?
The goal for me was always been to give a spectacular fashion. I want to go out there and give a show. And of course, I've been on the sideline for a year watching fights. Obviously at the end of the day, being booed and being cheered is much better than having an empty place where you hear like people yelling and screaming. It's pretty interesting. But fighting at the Apex Center is going to be the first time fighting in a small little cage. So it should be fireworks, because I feel like a smaller cage is better for the entertainers, for the people watching.
Yeah, and it's a short distance for you, right? Being in Arizona, going over to Vegas, right? That'll be convenient, right? So
100%.
Yeah. Where do you feel like a win puts you in the grand scheme of things? I know you've been off for a bit, but this is a newcomer, like you said. If you get back on the horse, so to speak, I imagine that's going to sit you pretty well. Like, have you thought about the implications of this fight?
I mean, with my experience in the past, I fought some of the best lightweights in the division. It's all about performance. I know how the UFC works. You give them a good performance, they'll give you that opportunity.
Yeah, no, I agree. One name that's always been linked to you, it seems like the fight never seems to happen, but Nasrat Haqparast. Do you think that fight's ever going to take place? Because it seems like, I know there's been a lot of back and forth and all that. Has that ship sailed, or you think you two could fight at some point?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I understand, that guy Nasrat. It's been, I know, on Twitter, but Twitter is Twitter. For me, I can sit down and just have fun on Twitter. It's not, but that kid is very interesting. You know, I would be happy. You know, I speak to my manager. He's very aware. Sean Shelby is very aware of. You know, we'll see what happens. You know, I welcome the opportunity. You know, I mean, like I'm very welcome to fight this guy. You know, he was my training partner in TriStar. I left TriStar, calling me out. He's trying to make a name. I truly believe he fought no one. He never really fought anybody like with a big name, and I'm probably his biggest name in the UFC.
What's downtime looking like in Arizona? You going hiking, or what are you doing out there to keep you got the dog though too, which is keeping you occupied? I know.
I train all the time, brother.
Yeah,
hard work, dedication.
Yeah, no, for sure. But even at night, like I'm sure you're not training before you go to bed. Like, are you watching any TV or anything, or what are you doing?
No, man. All I do is I keep my mind on the fight game. I study tapes all day. If I'm not training, I'm studying tapes and I'm watching videos of my opponent. I'm very intense individual. Anyone that knows me, they know that I'm very passionate of my job, and I'm ready to die for what I believe in. So right now, you know, it's a big challenge for me fighting a young, hungry kid. So I'm not taking him lightly, and coming off of surgery. So I've been doing everything in my powers to be physically and mentally ready for this fight.
We're looking forward to it, man. April 10th, UFC on ABC2. John, really appreciate the time as always, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, anybody that wants to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at John Makdessi. And, you know, go check out my new clothing design, Bull Wear, Bull Nutrition online. And thank you for your time, brother.